Welcome to Business Acumen Session 3, How to Run a Business, Developing a Deep Understanding. Last week, in the Session 2, we looked at employee mindset and businessman mindset, how the two are different, and the obvious synergies between the two. This program is for creating a workforce that generates opportunities constantly, continuously. This is being brought to you by METL Global Perspectives, www.metl.in. Let me address a question which keeps on coming again and again when I do these sessions. Is MBA needed to build a big business? There are several instances of individuals who dropped out of college or never had any formal education in business management going on to build and lead big businesses. However, there are also several CEOs of companies who are MBAs from very big schools, good colleges. So, does someone really need a business management qualification to build a big business? Is that necessity? Is it imperative? The answer is an overwhelming no. But then I would also say there is no harm in acquiring any additional knowledge. So, if you get a chance to go through an MBA, which is a world class one and a good one, definitely go through it. But would it help you build a big business? It might not. What it does, therefore, is to make you run a predictable business. It's a Masters of Business Administration. So you therefore learn business administration, but you do not learn business acumen. Business acumen is not taught to you in B schools, and this is something that one should understand. What is necessary to build a business, a big business, is business acumen, something that we will be discussing here and in the future sessions. Understand very clearly that without a business acumen, no business can survive. Business viability. Business is broadly based on two central themes: viability in the short term and growth in the long term. This is in addition to the earlier theme, productive deployment of capital. Putting all these together, a good business idea is one which generates sufficient cash and profits and continues to do so over the years to come. Now think about it. You must have seen a family running a business, maybe for first year, first generation, the second generation, and then they sell it off because the third generation is not interested in that business anymore. They sell off the real estate, they sell off the location, and then they make their money and invest into something else, or they just give it up. However, what one should understand is that it's not about only building a big business, even a small business, a small scale setup, a self employed organization, or a small setup. All of these need this understanding of business acumen. A business need not be big for you to be able to make money out of it. A small business which can sustain many people is also a very good business to have. So don't worry when you are looking at a business from this perspective of this lesson. It is not about only building a large business. It is about a large business, a small business, but a business that is viable and keeps going on and on. It doesn't come to an end. There is a perpetuity to it. Sustainable competitive advantage. People. It is evident that any business that continues to generate cash and profits over the years has to be unique and difficult for someone to replicate. This brings us to the concept of sustainable competitive advantage and the need to have a winning strategy. This sustainable competitive advantage is not about the permits or the mines or the mining rights that one has. Even if someone has these permits, they only go to a certain extent. Ultimately, it is all about running that business well. Again, both of these are relevant only when the people running the business are competent. Else, they keep messing up on great opportunities. I'm sure you know businesses, or you might have worked in businesses which are financially very feasible, but because of the poor strategy around it or not getting it right, they messed it up. Ultimately, it is all about the ability of the people to generate the options, make the right choices and the decisions at the right time and implement them. Business is all about people. You get the right, you might have the resources, you might have the money, you might have the mines, you might have the production facility, but if you don't have the right people, someday or the other, this business is bound to falter. Business, any business grows through stages. The first stage is about starting and stabilizing it. When a business is started, it needs sufficient funds to meet the capital expenditure for land, plant, and machinery, and also to fund the operating expenses. As the business stabilizes, the operating cycle starts generating cash, which can be further deployed to set up another factory, plant, or reduce the debt it took in the beginning. The skill at this stage is to ensure steady operations and constant reduction of time required to execute the operating cycle. If the business is not unique, competitors will intensify their activity and not let a new player emerge or gain market share, a large market share. We have seen this in India when the Enfield brand was launched again. We have seen this in India again and again when the Akasa airline brand has been launched, and let us see how does this business that has been started stabilize. They have the right people, people who know the business, but then there are entrenched competitors. Now, when you have got entrenched competitors with fierce ability and with deep pockets, how does a small airline start and survive? But yes, given the same scenario, Southwest did survive and did become a leader. That is because they changed the business model. So understand the business, the stages, and start and stabilize them. Then comes the business stage of growth. The next stage is the phase of growth, and this is critical to manage correctly. Growth is a cash guzzler, and several organizations go bankrupt trying to handle a large project or making a large acquisition to scale up. Growth also means going to the equity market for raising funds, larger loans from banks, and resulting high interest payouts. As the focus of the management shifts to the growth side of business, strategic deals, financing options, and reducing interest burden becomes the priority, and focus on operations reduces, which might disrupt steady cash flows. So, as the management gets diverted into other aspects, it is very important to get the right people to run the operations so that the predicted cash flows keep coming. If the predicted cash flows don't come, the entire business will be in jeopardy. So while the organization is trying to grow and growth is exciting, that's why everyone looks at it, it's also important to give the steady business, the cash flows, and the revenues and the customers in place and keeping it coming again and again. Stabilizing high growth. With larger projects getting commissioned and stabilized, the supply side surges. With good strategic partnerships, sales and marketing, the demand side catches up and again the business starts generating cash. Any unscheduled stoppage of work or unexpected increase of prices of raw material or consumables disrupts the flow of materials and cash, and this can be fatal for the organization that wants to grow. Once an organization has grown up to a certain size, can it not crumble after that? Of course it can. There are very many risks that that organization is exposed to. However, if most of the supply chain of that organization is within the control, then still the possibility and the possible risks reduce. Inducing flow. To prevent that, the entire flow of raw materials, plant availability, operations, finished goods, inventory sales, and receipt of cash needs to be managed flawlessly with no hidden inefficiencies. Any inefficiency can give rise to a new competitor. There are organizations which have sold their waste to a small enterprise, and that enterprise then took that waste and converted it into something very valuable that they could find out from there. So therefore there is a lot of money in various aspects of the business. As you grow big, normally flack tends to set in, the visibility of the management on all aspects reduce, and they have to rely on people to do the work. Down the line, find out where are the hidden inefficiencies, eliminate them at war footing, and be able to work very fast and transition and take the business to new heights. So it's very important that as you grow, as you induce flow, you ensure that there is no hidden inefficiencies, or else some competitor or someone will find about it and they will get it uh, into the market using that aspect. Now, even if the business is large and it's stabilized, there are aspects of import laws and all, import, export, all of these aspects which start influencing the business. So, if I am running a big plant and if I get imports from some other country at half the price, then obviously there is a big issue in the viability and feasibility of my factory or my business as such. So, one has to be very clear on what they are doing, where are they getting the money from, what level of expertise they are in, where the competitor can come in from, various aspects. Everyone has to think about it. And those who are closest to the ground are the most responsible people to get these inputs back to the management. And it's important for the management to have a mechanism created so that with no fear, anyone can report on these. Operating cycle. A good businessman understands that any business needs to complete the operating cycle as fast as possible. What it means is that it should be able to purchase the raw material or get the raw material, process that raw material, convert it into finished goods, sell the raw material, and be able to complete this cycle. So, this is known as the operating cycle, where the raw material gets converted to the finished goods, which is then sold to the customer. Now, if the customer is being given a, a 60-day credit, and if the raw material is being bought on cash, so what happens is that the cash cycle gets disrupted, and therefore the company has to be able to generate that kind of cash to fund its cash cycle also. A good businessman, therefore, generates cash from the business before giving cash out of the business, and also do so better than anyone else so that no one else can compete. If a businessman can grow to such an extent that the ecosystem can be influenced due to the presence of that business, then he or she has built a great business around. Big business builders. I can think of several leaders who have done just that. John D. and the formation of Standard Oil, Oppenheimer and the growth of DBS, Diamonds, Ray Kroc and McDonald's, Mark Zuckerberg and social networking, Lee Kuan Yew and the making of Singapore, Chairman Mao Zedong and the formation of the Communist Party of China. Just like a good business that has to be competitively superior for its sustained progress, a nation has to be globally competitive and do things over time which keeps it competitive. And like a business where people are very important, for a nation, its citizens are the key to success. Ultimately, if the manpower, if the citizens are not skilled, a business cannot run. It needs people. So ultimately, company, the raw material, the people available, they are all combined. They are all one. And an organization or a nation, they have to be interdependent on each other to thrive. One can't be without the other. To gather a deep understanding of any business, there are 6 elements that one should know. One should have a very close control on or a deep understanding about. Running a business needs a deep understanding of these 6 elements. Element 1 is cash flows. Where is the cash coming in? When is the cash going out? Where is it happening? When is it happening? Number 2, business environment. The business environment in which they are working, the kind of competitors they have, the kind of people they interact with, what is the capability of skill available, the marketplace, what does it look like, who are the suppliers, what is the exposure of the business to other elements. Element 3 is the macroeconomic developments. Every business is operating in a country, and that country has its laws and rules. So, what are the macroeconomic policies which are being created which can impact the business? Element 4, customers. What is the customer like? Is he going to change? Is my customer's preferences shifting? Is the Gen Z going to be very different from the X and Y that I have catered to? For instance, you take something as simple as greeting cards or postage. People have shifted from those greeting cards, writing them, sealing them, signing them, and sending them away. That business has gone away. Element 5, operations. How do I run my operations in the most effective manner and give highest possibility quality to my customers? That is what operations is all about. It's not about just maintaining, ensuring input, process, output. No, it is about constantly evolving it, constantly shortening the time of the operating system, constantly making innovations into it, having lesser raw materials being consumed. And element 6, synthesis. The way to engage with all of these to run a productive enterprise and also know whenever there is a change happening in any of this element, it is going to impact the others and it's going to impact the final cash or the way or customers might move away or something will start happening. How do you, as a person sitting higher up in the management, know which aspect is getting impacted, when, how, and how much? And how do you therefore control it? That is about it. The 6 elements to get a very deep understanding of your business. Business evolution. As technology evolves and customer requirements evolve, every business has to be fast to lead the transition and not play a catch up game. This again needs constant transformation of business models and strategic deployment of funds to generate the returns. Managers with limited functional mindset or vested interests, or those who are lazy, miss out on developing an understanding of the business and how to run it in a commercially successful manner. When this happens, the business is unable to transform itself. There is a normal tendency of people to be in the position that they are in, the business as usual. However, if they are in that mode, that business can't sustain. Maybe one cycle, maybe 2 cycles, maybe a few years it will go on. But sooner or later, that business is going to lose out. It is on the interest of the employees to constantly innovate their business, to take it to the higher planes. And it's for the management to have a culture which makes the business prosper and grow constantly. So, business should evolve continuously. If your business is not evolving, something is missing, something big is missing, and look at it. What is there? What is not right? There are several instances of individuals who have started out with nothing and they built great empires. When I look at the past, we have people like Walt Disney, we have people like John D. When we look at present, there are lots of names that have come up. Larry Ellison to J.K. Rowling to Oprah Winfrey to George Soros to Ralph Lauren to Shahid Khan. You can just Google about them and learn more about them. You will see that these are people who are into technology, into media, into entertainment, into money matters, into chip design. They are all so very unique, so amazing people to read about. As I said earlier, nothing in business is hidden. Everything happens in front of your eyes. So don't go with what the media says. Take time to know more about these people, the kind of background they came from. Why did they transition to become what they have become now? How did they transition? How did the chance come to them? How did the opportunity come to them? Learn from them. Don't sit on the sides and critique them as this is a good guy, that is a bad guy, this guy has done that, this guy has done that. That's not important. Learn. All of these guys are unique. They are absolutely stalwarts in their field. Understand what they have done. It is no joke to take a business which has been there for 300 years or more, like drinking coffee, and turned it around. Howard Schultz made Starbucks. When coffee drinking was already there were sufficient number of cafes all over, but he made Starbucks still, and he made it big. Read about them and read books about them, read articles about them, listen to them. They are absolute inspiration to be with and to hear about. Think about it and jot down whatever thoughts are coming to you. As I told you in the beginning, always keep the envelope with you at this stage. It's the back of the envelope that matters. You don't need some big fancy plans, some Excel sheets and all that. No, that's not needed. That your accountant or your chartered or your finance person can do for you. But what you should be knowing is how to put this business together. What are your thoughts at this point? What do you need to know more about? What do you need to do? Do you have all the six elements in place for running a business? And are you evolving continuously? Or you have set something up but you are not evolving? Think about it. Questions. At what stage is your organization? Are the right people at the right place? Doing the right things? Having the right power and authority to make the decisions that they have to take? Or are they waiting for approvals? Is your organization evolving constantly? Are the people working together? Message me your ideas and I will try to revert as soon as I can. You can reach me at saugata@metl.in or on WhatsApp at 99660 Next week, I will take you through the session 4, which is macros, getting the fit right. Till then, enjoy running your business, ensure that it does well.